Today we are going to solve O-Level Physics 5054, Paper 1, Variant 1, October-November 19 and questions from 21 to question number 40. From 1 to 20 already we have completed. Question number 21. What is the name of the change of state that occurs when a substance changes from a solid to a liquid? Okay, option A, boiling. In boiling, liquid changes to vapors, liquid changes to gaseous form at a fixed temperature. Condensation. Condensation means formation of small drops of water when warm water vapors touches the cold surface. Evaporation. It is the change of liquid into gaseous state at any temperature. Melting is a process where a solid changes to liquid. So correct option is option D, melting. Next question. A metal rod is heated. What happens to the rod? Okay, when we heat a metal rod, it expands. When it expands, its volume increases. And as we know, density is equal to mass over volume. So if volume is increasing, density will decrease. So we can say that when we heat a rod, its density will decrease and volume will increase. Okay, now we read the options. Option A, its density decreases and its mass decreases. Mass remains constant, it is not possible. Its density decreases and its volume increases. Yes, when we heat a rod, it expands. Expansion means increase in volume, and with increase in volume, density will decrease. So option B is correct option. Okay, we will move to the next question. Question number 23. The diagram shows a glass flask full of water at 10 degrees centigrade. A long glass tube passes through the bung into the water. The water level in the tube is at X. Okay, it is a flask. It is full of water. Water is up to the level point X. The flask is placed in hot water and the water level in the tube eventually rises to Y. Then we put this water into warm water. When we put it into warm water, the water level inside the flask increases, rises, and it comes up to point Y. Why does the water level rise? Okay, when an object is heated, it expands, but expansion for all the material is not same. In general, liquid expands more compared with the solid. So here liquid means here water will expand more as compared to expansion of the flask. Okay, now we read our options. Option A, the flask contracts and the water expands. No, both flask and water both expands. The flask contracts, again contracts, it is not possible. The flask expands and water contracts. No, both the objects expand. Now option D, the flask expands less than the water expands. It is the correct option. Flask and water both expands, but flask expands less as compared to water. So correct option is option D. Question number 24. A glass beaker contains water in a warm room. The water is initially at the same temperature at the room as the room, which changes does not affect the initial rate of evaporation of the water. Option A, changing the temperature of the water. No, evaporation depends on temperature. If temperature is increases, then evaporation will also increase. Using a beaker made of thicker glass. Yeah, it has no relation with the evaporation. So this answer is correct, using a beaker made of thicker glass. Okay, we read the other options also. Using a beaker with a larger cross-sectional area. Now, if the cross-sectional area is larger, evaporation will increase. D option, using a fan to blow air over the beaker. No, blowing air will take water molecules evaporation increases. So we can say option A, option C, option D. In all these three options, evaporation increases. Only the option B is not relevant to evaporation. So correct answer is B. Okay, next question, question number 25. The frequency of microwaves used in an experiment is 3 into 10 power 9 Hz. Their speed in air is 3 into 10 power 8 meters per second. What is the possible frequency and a possible speed in air of radio wave? Okay, microwave and radio wave both are electromagnetic waves, and velocity of electromagnetic waves are approximately equal to velocity of light. Velocity of light is 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second. So velocity of microwave and velocity of radio wave, it will be same. There will be no difference. So speed of radio wave and microwave will be 3 into 10 power 8. So our possible options are B and D. Now second thing, frequency. Frequency of radio wave is less than the frequency of microwave. Here frequency of microwave is given 3 into 10 power 9. So frequency of radio wave should be less than 3 into 10 power 9. Here in the option B, the frequency of the radio wave is given 3 into 10 power 5. So option B is correct. In option D, frequency of the radio wave is given 3 into 10 power 14. That is much larger than frequency of the microwave. So this option is not correct. Option B is correct. Question number 26. The diagram shows a ray of light in liquid incident on the boundary with air. Okay, it is the incident ray. Two other rays are observed. These are two other rays. One is in the liquid, one is again in the liquid, and the other is in the air. This ray is in the air on the boundary. What is the angle of refraction? Okay, this ray is called reflected ray. The ray which passes to other medium, that is in the air, it is called refracted ray. This line is called normal, and the angle between the normal and refracted ray is called angle of refraction. So what is asked here? What is the angle of refraction? So angle of refraction is the angle in between the normal and the refracted ray. Now here normal and refracted ray both are at right angle. So the angle is equal to 90 degree. So correct option is option D. Refracted angle is 90 degree. Question number 27. Light is incident at 90 degree on the surfaces of two glass prism P and Q. The critical angle for light traveling from glass into air is 42 degree. Where does the total internal reflection occur? Okay, here it is asked, we have two prism, prism P and prism Q. In both the prism, one light is incident at right angle to the surface, at right angle to the surface. It is asked whether there will be total internal reflection in P or in Q or in both the prisms. Okay, first we should know what is the condition for total internal reflection. Condition of for total internal reflection is the angle of incidence should be greater than critical angle. Here critical angle is given. Now we have to find out the angle of incidence. If angle of incidence is greater or more than 42 degree, then total internal reflection will occur, and if the incidence angle is less than 42 degree, then total internal reflection will not occur. Okay, now we have to find out angle of incidence. Okay, the ray that strikes at the normal, it will move straight and again it will strike this surface. Okay, at this surface we have drawn a normal. Normal means a line that is drawn at right angle to the surface to the point where the light beam is touching. Okay, this beam is coming straight and striking at this point. Now here is angle 45 degree, so same angle will be here. Here will be also angle of 45 degree. Now this is normal and this is our surface. Surface, the angle between the surface and the normal, this angle is 90 degree. When this angle is 90, definitely this angle will also be 90. Now this angle is 45, so this angle in between the incident ray and the normal, it will be equal to 45 degree. So we can say angle of incidence is 45. Now angle of incidence is more than critical angle. So we can say in prism P, total internal reflection will occur. Now we will check in the prism Q. It is a ray that is striking at this point. Now it will move straight and again it will strike at this surface. Now we have drawn the normal here. This normal is at right angle with this surface. Now we have to find out at what angle it will be reflected. Okay, here when the ray strikes at this point, now we are looking here, it is our triangle. In this triangle, this angle, it will be equal to 90 degree. Why? Because this angle is 90, alternate angles are equal, so this angle will also be 90. Here angle is given 45 degree. Now sum of all the angles in a triangle is 180 degree. So we can say if this angle is 90, this angle is 45, this angle will also be 45, so that sum will be equal to 180. So we can say this angle is equal to 45 degree. Now it is a right angle. Here it is a right angle. It is 90 degree angle. This angle we have found 45 degree. So angle in between the incident and normal will be equal to 45 degree. This angle will be equal to 45 degree. Again, we have noticed that in the prism Q, the angle of incidence is 45 degree, that is more than the critical angle. So we can say in prism Q also total internal reflection will occur. So our answer is total internal reflection will occur in both the prisms P and Q. So our option A is correct, that total internal reflection will occur in P and in Q. Question number 28. A person hears an echo after a sound hits a solid cliff face. What causes the echo? Absorption, dispersion, reflection, refraction. It is called reflection. When a ray strikes with a surface and bounces back and comes back in the same medium, then it is called reflection. So our correct answer is C, it is reflection. Question number 29. What is typical value for the speed of the sound in air? Okay, speed of sound in air is 330 meters per second. Here we have to make some conversions here. We have to check which one is correct. Okay, first we check the option A. Here it is written 3.3 into 10 power 4 centimeter per second. Okay, this 330 speed of sound is in meters per second. If we convert this meter per second in centimeter per second, then we have to divide this one by 100. When we divide this one by 100, it will become 33300. And in scientific notation, we can write it 3.3 into 10 power 4. So our option A is correct. We can say 330 meter per second is equal to 3.33 into 10 power 4 centimeter per second. So option A is correct. Question number 30. Magnets M1, M2 and M3 are joined by iron balls W, X and Y as shown. Okay, here are three magnets M1, M2 and M3, and these three magnets are joined by three iron balls X, W and Y. Magnetic poles are induced in the iron balls W and X as shown. Magnetic poles induce poles in the ball X and W is shown. In X it is south, it is north. Here this end south and this end north. and in W both south. In W on this side towards this magnet M1 is south and towards this magnet M2 is south. This south pole are induced in the ball, not in the magnet. Okay, which diagram shows the poles induced in the ball Y? First we check the ball X. In ball X on this side there is south pole, so definitely in the magnet here will be north pole. When this pole of the permanent magnet is north pole, this side will be south pole. When this side of the magnet is south pole, then definitely for the iron ball here will be north pole because opposite poles attract each other. So on ball Y, this right hand side the pole will be north. Now we will check here. This W, this is W. Both the poles are given south. This side is south and this side is south. Now when this side is south pole in the ball, then on this side magnet will be north pole. When magnet is north pole here, definitely other side will be the other side of the magnet will be south pole. Now on this side pole on the magnet is south, so definitely here on the ball Y the pole should be north. So we can say in ball Y on both the sides the pole will be north. Now we will check the options. Now in the option B it is given that in the ball Y both the poles are north, so this option is correct option. As we have seen here in the ball Y both the poles induced are north. So correct answer, correct option is option B. Question number 31. The base of a cloud is negatively charged. It is a cloud, base of the cloud is negatively charged and top of the cloud is positively charged. Okay, the cloud is over a metal mass as shown. This cloud is passing over a metal mass. It is a metal mass. Which row describes the charge induced at the top of the mass and how it is produced? Okay, it is a metal mass. Metal is good conductor of electricity. So we can say this metal piece will attract the negative charge. Now if it is attracting negative charge, definitely there should be positive charge because opposite charges attract each other. At the top of the mass there should be positive charge. Now how this positive charge will be developed? Say metals are those substances which have free electrons and these electrons freely move. Now what happens? The electrons move towards the base of the mass. The electrons will move towards the earth. When electrons will move towards the earth, here will be positive charge, here will be negative charge, or we can say electrons are traveling to the earth. Okay, now first we read our options. We have four options. Option A, charge at the top of the mass negative. In option B, charge at the top of the mass negative. In option C, charge at the top of the mass positive. In option D, charge at the top of the mass positive. A and B are not possible because as discussed as at the top of the mass it should be positive charge. Here it should be positive charge. In option C, electrons moving to the bottom of the mass. In option D, protons moving to the top of the mass. Protons moving to the top of the mass is practically not possible. So our correct option is, the best option is option C. Question number 32. An aircraft flying through the air becomes electrically charged. What causes this to happen? Option A, background radiation in the aircraft. Option B, friction of the aircraft with the air. Option C, heating of the aircraft surface. Option D, radio waves emitted by the aircraft. Okay, in the previous question, we have seen that in the cloud, the electrical charges are developed because of the friction. So the same reason is also here. Charges are developed on the aircraft because of the friction with air. So correct option is option B. Next question, question number 33. An AC supply connected to an oscilloscope produces the trace shown. Okay, here it is an oscilloscope. There is a wave that is shown on the oscilloscope. A diode is now connected in series to the circuit as shown. Okay, now a diode is connected. This is a diode. Okay, what is the new trace on the screen? Now it is asked, after connection of the diode, what will be the shape of the wave? What is diode? Diode is a device that converts AC current into DC current, or we can say it can pass only the half cycle, positive cycle, negative cycles it blocks. Upper half cycle is called positive cycle. This lower half cycle is called negative cycle. When we put a diode in the circuit, this half cycle is blocked. So the wave will be like this. This is positive wave, then there will be no negative wave, here will be straight line, then again here will be positive wave. Like this is it will move. So option A is correct option because negative cycle is now vanished. Diode has stopped the negative cycle. It can pass only the positive cycle. So option A is correct option. Question number 34. Resistors of different resistances are connected to a power supply in either a parallel circuit or a series circuit. Which statement is correct? Option A. The current is the same in all the resistors connected in parallel. The current is the same in all the resistors connected in series. The voltage across each resistor is different for all the resistors connected in parallel. The voltage across each resistor is the same for all the resistors connected in series. Okay, if we connect two resistors of different resistances in series, there will be same amount of current in both the resistances. In both the resistors, same amount of current will pass. What is the reason? Because the path of the current is only one. This is the path of the current in series circuit. So whatever be the current pass in this resistor, the same amount of current will pass in the other resistor. So we can say if we connect the resistor in series, then same amount of current will pass through both the resistors. So option B is correct. The current is the same in all the resistors connected in series. Question number 35. An ammeter is connected to three resistors and a power supply. Okay, here we have four cases, and in the four cases we have connected the resistors in different patterns. Here all the resistors are connected in parallel. Here two resistors are connected in parallel. Here also in the case C, two resistors are connected in parallel but of same resistance. In D, all the resistances are connected in series. Okay, now we read the question. What is asked here? Which arrangement of the resistor gives the greatest ammeter reading? Okay, it is asked where is the greatest ammeter reading? Greatest ammeter reading means greatest current. Current will be greatest when resistance will be least, when resistance will be smallest. Okay, to calculate the equivalent resistance of parallel combination, it is given here. To calculate the equivalent resistance for the series combination is given here. In series, it is simple algebraic sum. Okay, now by using these two formula, we will calculate the total equivalent resistance in all the cases. In A, we find out that the resistance is equal to 1 ohm. In B, we have calculated total resistance is 5.3 ohms. In case C, the resistance calculated is 4 ohms, and in D it is calculated 10 ohms. Now what we have seen that in the case A, here in the option A, the resistance is minimum. Here resistance is 1 ohm, here resistance is 5.3 ohms, here 4 ohms, here 10 ohms. So here in the case A, in the option A, resistance is minimum. So we can say current will be maximum. So ammeter reading will be also maximum. So we can say correct option is option A. Question number 36. A lamp is connected to a mains plug. Where are the switch and the fuse connected so the lamp is safe to use? Okay, fuse is used for the safety purpose and always connected in the live wire. In the same way, switch is connected in the live wire. So both switch and fuse are connected in the live wire. So our correct option is option A. Switch is connected in the live wire, fuse is connected in the live wire. Because if we connect the fuse in the neutral wire, it is useless. Okay, question number 37. The input voltage to a transformer is 24 volt AC and the output voltage is 6 volt. It is a transformer. Primary voltage or input voltage is 24. Secondary voltage or output voltage is 6 volt. The input coil has 720 turns. How many turns are there on the output coil? Okay, the topic is from transformer, and in the topic you have studied that voltage in the secondary divided by voltage in the primary is equal to number of turns in the secondary divided by number of turns in the primary. Okay, voltage in the secondary is 6 volt, voltage in the primary is 24 volt, number of turns in the secondary we have to calculate, number of turns in primary is 720. It is all the values we have substituted, and now by solving this one we will get the answer 180. So we can say number of turns in the output coil or in the secondary coil is 180, and 180 is in option B, so correct option is option B. Next question, question number 38. A student suggests four conditions for the production of a continuous flow of electrons from a metal filament. The filament is hot. Number 2, a high pressure gas is present. Number 3, a high positive electrical potential is present. Number 4, a strong magnetic field is present. Which of the four conditions are needed? Okay, four conditions are given here. We have to check out whether all the conditions are required or not. From thermonic emission, and here some explanation is given for the thermonic emission. When current is passed through a certain metal, it becomes hot, and because of heat, electrons are emitted, called thermonic emission. Okay, the first thing, the metal plate should be hot. So first condition fulfill. And because of high potential, electrons move towards the anode. Because of high potential, because of high positive electrical potential, the electrons move. So third condition is also required. First condition is required, third condition is required, second and fourth conditions are irrelevant. So we can say first and three are the required condition, and first and third condition are given in the option C. So option C is correct option. 39. The diagram shows the trace on an oscilloscope screen when connected to a DC supply which is being switched on and off. It is an oscilloscope. When the switch is off, the position is here. When the switch is on, the wave position is at this point. The setting of the Y gain control and the time base control are shown. On Y-axis, there is voltage per centimeter. On x-axis, there is time, and its time is also in centimeter. Time is in second, but for the scale, it is given in centimeter, that 1 centimeter represent 0.01 second. Okay, first we check what is asked here. The voltage of the supply is V. Okay, the supply is switched on F times per second. What are the values of V and F? Okay, it is asked what is the value of V. V means voltage and F means frequency. So we have to find out voltage and frequency. Okay, here on the y-axis there is voltage. It is given here that voltage per centimeter is 2 volt. Per centimeter voltage is 2 volt. Here one box represents 1 centimeter. So it is 1 centimeter, it is 1 centimeter, total 2 centimeter. 2 centimeter means per centimeter voltage is 2. So for the 2 centimeter total voltage is 4 volt. So voltage is 4 volt. Now we have to check the frequency. To calculate the frequency, first we should know the time period. What is meant by time period? Time period is the time taken to complete one cycle or one rotation by a wave. Okay, it is a wave. Starting point of the wave is here. This is the wave. It starts and at this point this wave is completed. So from here, from this point to this point, whatever be the time taken is called time period. Now again, it is 1 centimeter. It is 1 centimeter. Total distance here is 2 centimeter. Now 1 centimeter represent 0.01. So we can say 2 centimeter will represent 0.02 seconds. Now frequency is reciprocal of time period. F is equal to 1 over t. So we can say frequency will be equal to 1 over 0.02, and when we will solve this one we will get the answer 50. So we can say voltage is 4 volt and frequency is 50 hertz. Now we will check the options. Option C is correct. Voltage is 4 volt and frequency is 50. Okay, now we will move to the last question. Question number 14. A narrow beam of radiation from a radioactive source travels out of the page through the point X. Okay, it is point X and some rays are coming out of the page. The poles of a magnet are placed on the either side of the beam. Now two magnet poles are placed here, north pole, here south pole of the magnet. Radiation is now detected both at X and Z. Now we have detected the rays, detected the radiation at point X and also at point Z. Which types of radiation are present in the beam? Alpha and beta, alpha and gamma, alpha, beta and gamma. Option D, beta and gamma. Radioactive rays are of three types, alpha, beta and gamma. Out of alpha, beta and gamma, gamma is not deflected because of magnetic field or electrical field. So we can say at point X it is gamma rays because it is not deflected. On the same point it is present where it was before. Now what about the Z? We have to find out whether it is alpha particle or beta particle. To find out it is alpha or beta particle, we have to take help of Fleming left hand rule. By using Fleming left hand rule, we can find this one is beta particle. So our option is option D, beta and gamma radiation. Okay, it is end of the paper. Okay, today we have completed the paper 5054, paper 1, variant 1, October November 19.